In this video, we'll take a look at enabling debug level for 3PCC phones, specifically the 9800 series of phones. The settings in WebEx ControlUp are arranged a little bit different with the 98xx phones when compared to the 8800, 7800 phones. One of the key things is when troubleshooting issues related to 3PCC phones, we want to enable the debug level logging as soon as possible. And the goal is we want to enable the debug level logging before the issue event occurs. So if you ran into some type of issue, you want to go and enable debug level logging, and then you want to monitor the phone in an effort if the issue event occurs again, you want to generate the debug level PRT right after the issue event. Another key item is documenting the timestamp of the issue event. And then immediately afterwards generating the debug level PRT directly from the phone. And also documenting what was noticed before the issue event and during the issue event on the phone. Also, if there's any type of trigger point that may be causing the issue to occur. A key component to be aware of is the 3PCC phones do have limited memory for the debug level log. It can get overwritten as little as 1 hour of usage time. In phones that are used very often, like a call center or a front desk phone that gets a lot of calls back to back to back. So it's very critical that we generate a debug level PRT right after the issue event occurs. Otherwise, there is a risk that the logs, the debug level logs, may be overwritten. Another key consideration is generating and downloading the debug level PRT directly from the phone. And the reason behind this is this will give us information that is not obfuscated. If you use the option within WebEx ControlUp to trigger a debug level PRT and then download the PRT once it's uploaded to WebEx ControlUp, a percentage of the information is obfuscated in debug level PRT. And when you're looking at the logs within the debug level PRT, it may present some difficulty during the troubleshooting efforts where you're trying to connect the dots. Specific items that you'll notice that are obfuscated: IP addresses, phone numbers, MAC addresses, domains, a lot of items you normally would want to identify to be absolutely certain that the data you're looking at correlates to other information, such as information maybe looking at a Wireshark capture, or information from a firewall, or information from a switch, etc., etc. So again, generating and downloading the debug level PRT is highly desirable directly from the phone. Otherwise, there will be a certain percentage of information that will be obfuscated if it's downloaded via WebEx ControlUp. In some cases, a Wireshark capture on the switch port where the phone is located at may be needed. And this is really to understand what might be occurring at a packet level. And then this should be done in parallel, concurrently, with the debug level PRT. Again, you want to be able to correlate the information. What does the phone debug level logs show versus what is seen in the actual packet capture on the switch port where the phone itself is located at. If the issue event is random and or sparse in nature, you may want to set up a syslog server to collect the debug level PRT logs from the phone, and also Wireshark ring buffer capture to run 24/7 until the issue event occurs. So this would take a little bit more work. The way the phones are provisioned on WebEx Calling, they do not give you admin access to the actual phone. So if you're needing to do a syslog server setup, you will need to work with Cisco technical support closely in the efforts of getting the phone to be pointed to a specific IP address of a local PC that's running syslog server software, for example, TFTPD 64. So something definitely you would need to get Cisco technical support involved for that component. As far as the Wireshark ring buffer capture, I will leave a link to a video I created on setting up Wireshark ring buffer capture. It is a standard feature within Wireshark software itself, which is open source. The only thing you really need to do is set up a port mirror, source port, where the phone is located at, destination port, another port on the same switch where you plug in a notebook, where you would run the Wireshark ring buffer capture. Then once the issue event occurs, you want to go and stop the ring buffer capture on the notebook running Wireshark. Depending on the amount of packets you are getting per second, if you will, generally, if there's something not going out of control within the network, generally 15 minutes plus or minus 5 minutes of runtime you'll get on the ring buffer before it overwrites. If you look at the video I created, I kind of go into more details, but you would want to spend some time analyzing, setting up the 20 individual files in the ring buffer configuration that I show, and per each file you'll be doing 10,000 packets. If you have a situation where the traffic is very elevated, you may burn up through the ring buffer quite quickly. It can be a minute, it can also be seconds, and typically you'll know the notebook will struggle quite a bit. But in any case, these are some of the key considerations when troubleshooting. This video will specifically focus on the debug level enabling on the 9800 series phones, which are registered to WebEx Calling. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our WebEx Control Hub, and we're going to go to Devices. We're going to find the specific 9800 series phone within Devices that we're trying to troubleshoot. And then this is the part that is going to be a tad different than what you may be accustomed to with the other series of phones like the 88 and 7800, 6800 phones. Is in this case we're going to go to where it says All Configurations. So we're going to click on that option. And then the next page that comes up gives us a dialog box. As soon as we start typing in a keyword, there'll be a context window or listing below. They'll pop up and it'll show you in pretty much real time what it's finding. So if we just type in debug, it'll show us an option is offered for this phone for debug within System, Optional Networking Configuration, Debug Level. You just need to click on that option that pops up. Then we're just going to click on Next on the bottom right corner. We will basically get this drop-down menu right here. By default, so the factor setting is for notice. We want to set this to debug level. So once we select the drop-down to debug, we're going to go ahead and click on Next here, bottom right corner. And then this is just telling us what basically we're going to apply as far as configuration settings. So review configurations. So this is correct. We're going from notice to debug level. So we're going to again click on apply. So bottom right here. And then it shows us the change has been successful. The value is now debug level. It's showing us a green check mark here. And we're just going to click on the close option right here, bottom right. So we want to do this one more time. And the reason we're doing this one more time, so we're going to click on All Configurations, is we want to enable the web access on the phone. As I mentioned earlier, we want to be able to get debug level PRT from the phone right after the issue event that does not have any obfuscation. Very critical. So we're going to, in this case, type in web. The specific item that we're looking for is the web access. So we're going to click on the most bottom item offered. We're going to go in and click on Next, bottom right corner here. And then in the drop-down value, we're going to set this to yes. So the default value is for this to be basically disabled. We're going to change it to yes. We're going to hit next here. Okay, so it's saying it's going from no to yes. So we're enabling the web access. This web access is user level only, so it is limited as far as what visibly we'll be able to see and what you will be able to change, but that's okay. For generating the debug level PRT, this is all we need. And then we're going to hit apply, bottom right corner. Okay, so it shows us success here for the item we just changed here. The value now is yes. It's showing a status of green. And we're going to go ahead and click on close, bottom right corner. Okay, we want to go ahead and apply the changes. And generally, once we apply the changes, this takes about 10 seconds for the changes to get pushed to the phone. You will typically see the phone for a moment. The screen will actually change, and it may tell you it's updating, configuration changes are being applied, etc., etc. But generally, it's fairly quickly. So about 10 seconds, within 10 seconds, you see the change. It may take a few extra seconds for the phone to apply those changes, but I would say generally within 20 or 30 seconds, you should be ready to go as far as the changes. So next what we want to do is we want to go to the actual web interface of the phone. So within this page, it'll show us what the local IP address of the phone is. In my case, it's 192.168.1.80. This normally should be an RFC 1918 address space, which is not routable on internet. You'll notice I do have some items here that I've kind of blocked out, like MAC address. There was a MAC address here, I blanked it out for obvious reasons, and then a public IP address, I blanked it out. So you just want to make sure that the address you're looking to log into the phone is going to be RFC 1918 address, and the actual information we're going to put for the URL link will be an https:// and the IP address of the phone. So as we can see here in the tab in the browser that I just opened up, I went ahead, typed in the https://192.168.1.80. On the main page we're at right now, we want to go ahead and click on the Debug Info tab. That's going to give us an option on this page to generate PRT. So we're going to click on the Generate PRT. And then it does give us a listing of different options as far as descriptions of a problem. If your issue does not match any description, which is fine, just hit Other or select Other, then select Submit. This will typically take, I would say, probably around 30 seconds, plus or minus some seconds here or there. And then once it's finished, on the right side, there's going to be a prt.tar.gz that once you click on this item on the right side, and just as a footnote, sometimes you may see a mini PRT. I would just ignore the mini PRT. So do not spend time downloading the mini PRT. What you're really after is the full PRT or the PRT on the right hand side. So if you see a mini PRT, just ignore it. You want to focus on the item on the right hand side, which is the full PRT. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and click the PRT log.tar.gz, and we should see a download on the browser. So this typically will go to your downloads folder, and generally these are not very large. Depending on how much time the phone's been running, generally these may be like 7 meg, 8 meg. Rarely do I see it going above that. It may be a lot less also, so fairly small in size. And then to go into the downloads folder, we'll click on the folder icon, top right here. And this should take us directly to the folder where this PRT log has been downloaded. The reason in my case it has a parenthesis too, I already had another log from earlier downloaded, so the operating system will naturally increment this. In my case, this is located on my C drive, user downloads folder. And normally what I like to do is I like to actually cut and paste this over to another folder on the computer. So in this case, I created a folder 3PCC 98xx debug level logging example, put it right there. And then we want to go ahead and right click this, and we will get a context menu. In my case, I'm going to use 7-zip. You may use what's available in the operating system natively to uncompress this. In this case, I'm using Windows 10 and I'm using 7-zip, so I'm just going to hit 7-zip, extract files. And then everything here looks okay. I'm just going to click on OK. And then we have a folder now we want to go into. And then we want to do the same thing. We want to now extract the tar, so we're going to right-click the PRT-log (2.tar). We're going to get our context menu. We're going to select 7-zip, extract files. Okay, and then we get another folder. We're going to go inside this folder. Now it just says PRT (2). And what we're interested in is going to be the cfg.xml, config.xml file. In my computer, I have it set up to automatically be linked to Notepad++. If you just have Notepad or something else, that's fine. We just need some type of text editor, if you will. And then once you open up, we want to do Control F. And then we're just going to type in level. So this will bring up the Find dialog box. What I'm always cautious about is often I'll have many different tabs in my Notepad++ open with different documents. So when I'm doing this type of search, I always make sure I do Find All in Current Document. So it'll just search the current tab I'm in. So once we click on the Find in All Current Document for level, we'll notice we have here debug level on 2 different items. So this is what it found, and this is where it found it. The reason we're doing this, we're just double checking to make sure the phone itself actually got the config for it to be in debug level. Because it is possible in some situations there may be communication issues, you're troubleshooting, and even though you configured everything correctly in WebEx Control Hub, it never gets down to the phone. And then let's say it's a sparse issue and you have to wait a couple weeks before the issue shows up. The issue shows up finally, you go to generate the PRT and you realize it's not debug level. So again, this just takes a few extra minutes, but I highly recommend to validate that the PRT is debug level before you kind of let it run 24/7 and you're assuming that everything's a-okay, to minimize any surprises you may have in a couple weeks. Okay, so as we kind of summarize here of considerations, so when troubleshooting issues related through 3PCC phones, we want to make sure we enable debug level PRT logging on the respective phones. For this specific video, we are focusing on the 98xx phones, which is the newest generation of Cisco phones. Once the issue event occurs, document the timestamp of the issue event. So basically, was issue on Monday, 11 a.m., and then we want to right away generate the debug level PRT right after this event. Goal is for the PRT log data not to be overwritten. We want to also document what was noticed, so before the issue event and also during the issue event on the phone. Also, if there was any type of trigger point that may be causing the issue. Was there some type of device being turned on? Or something else that you've noticed as far as a pattern, then when this other thing occurs, then the phone has whatever issue you're troubleshooting. So those can be important clues when troubleshooting. And then in some cases, Wireshark captures may be needed on a switch port where the phone is located at to understand what might be occurring at a packet level. Because the debug level PRT, although it offers a lot of information, it does not really offer us the type of information that's found in Wireshark captures and vice versa. Wireshark captures do not offer the type of information that's found in a debug level PRT. So often having both of these may be critical to the pathway towards an answer of what is going on to cause whatever issue you may be having with the phone. And again, we want to try to do these in parallel. So in parallel, the debug level PRT with the actual packet capture. So when issue occurs, we have both pieces of evidence and we can correlate between the two items. If the issue event is random and or sparse in nature, you may need to set up a syslog server to collect the debug level PRT logs from the phone, and also Wireshark ring buffer capture to run 24/7 until the issue event occurs. So basically, as I mentioned, the phones by default, when registered to WebEx Calling, you don't have admin access. And as of the recording of this video, there's no quote-unquote syslog option within Control Hub. So this is something you definitely want to get Cisco technical support involved so they can assist with the syslog portion of the configuration. And then for the ring buffer portion, you would want to set up a port mirror, source port where the phone is at, destination port, same switch where you plug in a PC with Wireshark. And then I'll leave a link below in the description for the ring buffer setup, so you can look at that. Not too difficult. The first time you're doing this setup might look a little bit strange, but once you've done it once or twice, it's pretty much straightforward. The only item of caution is if it's a network with a heavy load, the PC may actually struggle. If the PC is struggling, the phone will struggle. So right off the bat, you'll kind of know if something's really going out of control. If it's something that's very sparse and very random, you just have to let it go until the issue pops up. And then whoever's there locally by the Wireshark notebook, you do want to educate folks in the vicinity that once the issue occurs, please go ahead and stop the Wireshark notebook. Please notify the IT personnel for them to stop it, and or for them to also generate the debug level PRT from the phone. And then another item, and this applies to pretty much a lot of things you might be troubleshooting, not only IT related, phone related, but also could be other items that you may be involved in troubleshooting. If you move the phone, the device is having issues, to a different site, such as a home office or different office, like a different remote office, does the issue follow the phone or does it stay with the site? So this is a very basic test, but it can be a very powerful test, because then you can realize, is the issue only occurring when the device is in this specific site or this specific network segment, aka VLAN, if you will? Because if the issue is occurring like every 24 or 48 hours, you can take the phone home with you, let it run over the weekend in your home, do a couple random test calls, whatever you think might be appropriate. Does the issue show up? If it doesn't show up, that's pretty good evidence there's something happening in the network segment where the phone is, to introduce whatever issues might be seen. So hopefully this gives you a pretty good idea when it comes to the new 9800 series of Cisco phones for WebEx Calling 3PCC, if you will, as far as the steps needed to enable debug level logging in WebEx Control Hub and other related items you may want to consider documenting, collecting to help with the troubleshooting efforts. Thank you for watching the video.